Well, today is the 9th of September, and a lot of things in my life have been changing pretty significantly. I have been doing a lot of trying to figure out myself and self reflection and what I want to do with my life, things like that. It's been a lot. Um, with all the changes going on in my life, I also decided to go ahead and make some changes to my YouTube channel, and this basically will be the last trans vlog post I will put on Rainbow Moonshadow. I made a separate personal channel for personal videos and stuff, and I'll put my gaming videos on Rainbow Moonshadow, and I'll put my trans vlog and more personal videos, my book readings. That's all going to be visible and available on my um, personal channel, and that's called Lyl Enlyl. It's Lyl space Enlyl. So my trans vlog never really got that many views. It was more for me personally. It wasn't meant to be anything that would ever be like super popular. But if you are one of the people who has gotten a lot out of my trans vlog, or you want to keep up on things, or know what's going on more with me and my moving forward, um, feel free to check it out. Um, After about like a week or two, I will probably take the trans vlog and just completely only have it on that channel. So hopefully that'll be enough time for people to watch this one and make the move. There is a link to my personal channel on my channel, um, on the banner, and I did, go ahead and make a link back to Rainbow Moonshadow on my personal channel. So hopefully it'll all get sorted out. It's just I would like to keep my hey, I'm having fun gaming stuff separate from my hey, I was born intersex and I'm trying to live with it um, stuff. So I'm trying to do that, get things more organized and just more planned out and taken care of in general. Um, it's a little weird transferring an entire playlist, let alone multiple playlists, to another channel that has, no subscribers and no videos and views that were its own thing. Especially since I have had the Rainbow Moonshadow channel for a ridiculously long amount of time. And it's funny looking back on how many videos I made and how naive I was back in the day, reading the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan on here until I got slammed with a copyright threat. Um, because I hadn't ever thought about it because I was just some young fool who didn't understand copyright laws at all. And I just loved the books and wanted to share them. And looking back on like my super old like fraps videos for my video gaming footage and stuff, and like I don't know a lot about making videos, but it's funny how far I've come comparatively to where I started, but I'm still like so far behind like people who make it for like their job and stuff. um I don't know, this has just been my personal playground, this channel. So, yeah, I I'm gonna try to separate the playground part from the personal struggles, trauma, transition part. I went ahead and redrew some stuff, so if you see the old picture being gone and different pictures instead, That's okay. I don't know if I'm going to keep these particular drawings. I kind of wanted to do the phases of the moon, but I instead just went with a moon with like nebulas behind it and rainbow light flares. I don't know. I'm in a lot of transition, not just physically transitioning, but like life as a whole is filled with transition. I do know I would like to continue the trans vlog and um, keep recording and everything like that. Like today is the 9th, but in actuality, on the 13th, I will be 2 months post-op from top surgery, which is a awesome thing, and I am healing like a champ. I mean, I am very, very pleased, like super pleased with the results and how my chest is looking and everything. Like, it's going really well. On the 19th, I have my first consult for seeing the LGBT plus specializing OBGYN about a hysterectomy, and she's worked with intersex people before, so it will hopefully be a very smooth, hysterectomy. And on October 14th is my bottom surgery, first consult, and it's all stuff that's coming up and everything that is really exciting, is really good. I definitely, despite everything else that's going on, am still 100% sure about the surgeries and everything, and even take a little bit of comfort in those, and that is coming my way. The rest of my life has been filled with a lot of tears and a lot of grieving and difficulty, and I haven't really talked to almost anyone about it. I'm not the kind of person who is vindictive or wants to like pit people against someone or things like that. Even if they have done me wrong, I don't want people to treat people that way. I'm just not that person. I don't know. I I didn't get treated with a lot of dignity growing up, so I value treating people with dignity, and so I don't want to go into like some big giant details and stuff because I don't want people to judge someone else harshly. Um, but yeah, my real life is taking a lot of changes. I'm trying to keep that basically causing momentum for me to be propelled into a caring about myself more, which I have essentially not cared about myself like at all. I have had a pretty significant issue with being obsessed with people around me that I love and care about, and being hyper focused on them and their needs and their wants and their goals and their desires, and not really having a lot of that for myself. And you would maybe realize that because in my trans vlog I talk so much about myself. If you're someone who's watched it before, but I have always had this problem of feeling like I didn't matter, um, and having a compulsion, I guess you could call it, to instantaneously gravitate toward these other people matter. And they're, the people that I love. And then when I don't love people, I don't treat them that way. It's very strange. It's not like it's universal and I have this problem with everyone. It's specifically if I love and care about someone. I am trying to realize and take from this that I need to love and care about myself. And that's a difficult thing. Um, it's strange. I have a very strong sense of identity when it comes to like morals. I have a very, very strong sense of like my values and what I consider right versus wrong and what I consider like this is how I should behave versus this is how I shouldn't behave. Like I have a very strong sense of moral standing, but I don't have a strong sense of identity when it comes to here's who I am and here's where I want to go in life and this is what I want to do with the rest of my life and stuff like that. That always was, well, I want to support this person and what they want to do with the rest of their life. I want to, have a future with this person. Whatever it looks like, it doesn't matter as long as it's with this person. Like I am trying to get to a point where instead I'm thinking I I want to be there with myself and I want to get to the goals that I want. And that's a hard thing. When you've done that and when you don't even know for sure what those things are. I have thrown myself away a lot for other people and I've been taken advantage a lot of like people take advantage of me a lot and I don't really push back. Like I say, hey, I'm not okay with this. They do it anyway, and because I'm so desperate for them to love me, I just don't give them a repercussion for ignoring me when I say that's not okay. Um, and if I bring it up and I say that's not okay, after it's happened a lot of times or too much or whatever, then I'm a bad guy. And I've been made out to be the bad guy a lot in my life because I'll put up with something for so long that when I finally get to a point where I'm like, okay, this isn't okay to do anymore, it seems like I'm taking away a right or a privilege that they before used to experience. And that's a difficult thing. And I wish people would give me the benefit of the doubt more. So I always give them the benefit of the doubt. And they don't do it in return. And that's painful. I'm always looking for the good in people and the things that they do that are admirable or that I think are of high quality, things that add value to the world. And I'm always trying to be that myself. I'm always trying to be someone that I feel like I'm adding value and I'm doing good in the world and I'm making someone's life better and I derive a lot of meaning from that and I haven't really gotten much in the way in my entire life of meaning in investing in myself, adding value to myself, treating myself well. It doesn't make me feel good about myself when I help me. It just makes me feel good about myself when I help whoever. And I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to come to a place of closure and acceptance about tremendous loss and That's a difficult thing for anybody. I think grief is a hard thing, just period. And I always was saying when I was transitioning physically that I didn't want the rest of my life to look like my life up until now has looked. And that's so much more true now because it's not just that I don't want the rest of my life to be plagued with massive depression and dysphoria and, you know, horrible struggles of that nature. I also don't want to continue with the same habits and the same mannerisms that I had before in the way that I interact with other human beings. And there are some things that I do genuinely feel very strongly about. Um, for instance, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II just died yesterday, and I hope she rests in peace. Her passing is a big thing for me because A, she's the only Queen of England there's been in my entire lifetime. She had a extremely long rule, but also, you know, she was human. She might have been the queen, but she was definitely human. She made a lot of errors in judgment, and then she made a lot of really strong, good strides forward, especially for her people who she was supposed to be serving. And she had this mentality of being a servant in leadership. And servant leadership is something that I personally admire and I feel like is getting more and more rare and more of a like outdated concept or it being self-sacrificing for like the good of everyone around you is becoming less popular, it seems like. And it's very strange for me because I was born right on the cusp of Gen X to millennial, and I am very, very much separated because of that. Being on the very tip end of that, like literally, it's a year difference um, between Gen X and millennial for me. So I am very far from like Gen Z and stuff, and I feel old sometimes because I feel like devotion and loyalty and duty, like a strong sense of duty and responsibility and being faithful, being determined to carry onward and be long suffering, even in the face of hardship, and have that quiet strength and that kind of in, intense but not emotionally dramatic devotion is just not something that I see being like exemplified and encouraged a lot in a lot of the people my age and younger. And I feel like very outdated. I feel very much like my morals and my beliefs are not fully e- on the same page. Like, I do very much believe that each individual is special and should not, be judged just because they want to live. Like there are some things in the morals and the beliefs that I am seeing that I wish would have been a part of how I was raised. Like I wish that there had been more encouragement and suggestion that you follow your own path when I was younger, and that it'd be, more generally accepted to be different, and that you don't have to just be some sort of normalized standard. Like I absolutely 100% am cheering that kind of change in structure, like so much. But there's also this like encouragement in society to never really invest yourself fully into one thing. Have a whole bunch of different streams of income. Have not your eggs all in one basket. Don't actually fully commit to a place. You will do so much better in your career if you only work at this place for a little while and then move on. Like, there's so much encouragement in all kinds of different facets in modern day society that are very different to how I believe, I guess, and do things. So I struggle to function within that realm of never make anything solid. Everything needs to constantly be shifting and changing. And life is filled with change. Like, change is inevitable. Um, but I am personally someone who genuinely puts a lot of value on being someone who invests into making more structured habits and having a routine that I feel like is edifying and making consistency. I take pride in being a consistent person, but I realize that at least in the United States is not a societally aspiring goal anymore. And I feel very out of place. And I feel like Queen Elizabeth II was more like me. She was very much devoted to that strong sense of I'm here for everybody else. I will maintain this standard even when it's difficult for me. I will carry on. I will have a strong sense of duty, a strong sense of commitment to what I'm supposed to be doing and helping the people around me and being self sacrificing in that way. And she did get rewarded for that. It's a trade off. She gets to live in a castle and have all her food provided to her, all her clothes provided to her. Like, there is a trade off for being that. But at the same time, she has to be always, without wavering, this steadfast role model. And every decision she makes, she's not allowed to ever just think of herself. She has to also include how would this affect the other people that I'm supposed to be responsible for? What what would be the consequences of this? And try to weigh that. And sometimes she'll make a good choice and sometimes she'll make a bad one, but she's always trying to juggle and manage that she's responsible for the other people's lives as well as her own. And that's how I grew up. I grew up being someone who felt like I was responsible for other people as well as myself. And so now, as an adult in my relationships, I feel like that very strong devotion. And what's even making it worse is in a particular situation, I was literally given that job to be responsible for someone else, and then basically demonized for attempting to do the job that I had been given. And I don't always get things right. I definitely can make the wrong decisions, but every decision is weighed out with this sense of devotion. This, it's not just about me. How does this affect who I'm responsible for? And for the first time in my life, I am attempting to think less that way and think more just, well, it's not really important if or how it affects other people. It only matters how it affects you. And I don't necessarily believe that. That's not morally where I sit. I don't sit from a place of it only matters what happens to me and everyone else, the consequences or repercussions, they can just deal with it. I'm not that person. So it's a very difficult thing for me to juggle because I can definitely see how I have been throughout my life swung too far in the wrong direction toward basically teaching people to abandon me. I can see that. But I also have a very strong sense of commitment and faithfulness that I don't want to abandon other people. I do think of the greater good and morally think that way. And that's not something I want to stop having fully ingrained in me. It's something I take pride in that I do that. Because I don't feel like everyone does. I see so much like greed and selfishness and self interest. And it is very important to not abandon yourself and your needs so that someone else can have theirs all the time. It is super important not to do that all the time. But I feel like situations sometimes would ask for that. And I feel like as a society, we are moving further and further toward each individual should only care about themselves and screw everybody else. And I just don't feel that way. I don't think that way. I don't act that way. So it's very difficult for me. I think that's part of why I am making the two channels is putting my personal stuff that's more for me and isn't necessarily for everyone else. I mean if it helps an intersex or a trans person out there or even someone to help understand intersex or trans people, then awesome. You know, that's great. But in actuality, it's for me so that I can look back on myself and I can look back on my struggles and I can look back on my growth and how far I've come from where I was and what I was thinking at that time about this subject and now this subject's coming up again. Like I um I get a lot out of it personally. So I feel like that raw self introspection doesn't necessarily belong next to, me making a guide and trying to help people. Like, specifically going out of my way to be like, I'm excited to help. like, it feels, it feels like they're butting heads against each other. Um, they don't coincide well. So I am moving the parts that are more for me so that I can be able, when I'm in that space, to focus more on me instead of trying to force it all together because it just doesn't really, it just doesn't coincide well. And I don't want to stop helping people. I don't want to stop being someone who goes out of their way and takes pride and happiness from that. I have always been someone who very strongly believes in volunteering in real life. I think volunteer work is good for the soul. Like it instills so much character growth because you're doing something solely for the purpose of bettering things that are external outside of yourself. And in so doing, you end up bettering your internal self as well. And you can take a genuine, like, uprightness from that. I feel like, people just don't really think about volunteering as much anymore. I feel like a lot of people would rather just throw money at a thing instead of throwing effort at a thing. Um, you know, it's more convenient that way. And part of what I like about spending hours volunteering, doing something that isn't for me is A, you learn something, and learning is always like an aspiration, it's always good. But also, you get a sense of the weight of just how insignificant you are. It's the same thing as I love the redwood forest because the redwood trees make you realize they've been there for over 1,000 years, just tall and powerful and this pillar of strength. And here you are, some insignificant little blurb in its lifespan, coming to stand before it in all your teensy tiny, you know, self loftiness, and in reality you're just like nothing in comparison with the rest of the world. And your mistakes only scratch the surface of the tree, and your, you know, things that you do to create your success in your life are like literally nothing to the tree. Just nothing. And it's good to be humble. It it, it builds you up to be humble. It's something that might sound like an oxymoron, but it's true. When you are able to be aware of just how low you can be brought, it gives you like a tremendous amount of strength. Realizing you can come back from that, or realizing you can step forward on that, and that even that can be a foundation that you can rise upon, and it gives you a real sense of awe, or at least it does me. I look at like the history of mankind a lot, and I look at the kind of impact that a person can have, and sometimes I'm in awe because that person's just as human as me. I have done a lot of things in my life for other people, and some of those things are very worthwhile things. I have saved lives. There are people who would be dead right now if it wasn't for me. But at the same time, I have not done a lot for myself in my life. And getting this surgery was like one of the first things that I've done that's just truly for me. And I didn't have like a bunch of angst about it and like torture about it because, oh, what if I don't really want this or whatever. Like I was certain I wanted it, the whole way. And I never had any doubts or any like I've heard some trans folks say that they get their surgery and then afterwards they're like, what did I do to myself? Or, I'm in pain, and it goes away, but they have that moment and stuff. I never had that. Um, once once I started taking testosterone, and it really was just so incredibly life changing for me, and the doctors were correct about, their estimations and guesses about so much of how much it would help me in my health and, my physical medical issues, let alone my mental health, um, which was also just tremendous astronomical improvements. It was like it was proof to me that I didn't need to have any more doubts, I guess. So I don't. I don't have any more doubts. Um, Physical transition is, it seems like it's belittling it to say it's what I want, but it it's what I want, and for me to definitively know exactly what I want in a thing is a big deal for me, because the majority of the time the only things I really know I want is, well, I want folks to be happy, or oh, I want, this person to get to what they want, or oh, I want to help them. um it I know I want to be turned into compost when I die, but that's when I die. What do I want to do with my life until then? I want to help people, and despite it being something that I feel like is getting more and more lost in our society, and I feel like a sense of real deep impact by Queen Elizabeth II's death, because I feel like one of the last bastions and examples of that kind of self-sacrifice and devotion, and that kind of a leader, um, that's gone. There are starting to be less and less people that I can point to and say, yeah, I have similar qualities. Um, and as someone who grew up feeling pretty ostracized and isolated from the rest of the other humans around me, it is difficult to now be in adulthood and realize that I am feeling more and more different. Um, I just have different beliefs, and someone might say, "Oh yeah, it's good to not cheat in your relationship," something like that. But they don't think about commitment the way that I do when they're saying that. To me, cheating isn't just don't have sex with someone else. To me, cheating is communicating with the other person any and every desire, and communicating with the other person what they feel cheating is, and being committed to not doing that because I care so much about them. And not cheating for them might be, don't have sex with other people. It might be that simple for them. But by being faithful to another human being, I'm not being faithful to just what my definition of something is. I'm being faithful to what theirs is, because I don't want to hurt them. And I don't assume that they just shouldn't be hurt as long as I do this thing. I I want to verify that this is the thing that I'm supposed to be doing. If I've committed to be faithful to someone, no matter how bad they've hurt me, no matter what they've done to me that is like really painful or horrible, I don't go running around to everybody I know or people they know and constantly try to like badmouth them and degrade them and stuff. That doesn't mean that I want them to see me as pathetic, or that I don't defend myself or whatever. I just don't want to run someone else through the mud. And I wish that people would see me and would, recognize in me that my very nature is is to try to take care of people. And again, that's been a very unhealthy thing for me in a lot of ways in my life. But it's also something that I take a lot of pride in, and I genuinely believe is a better thing to do than to not. Caring to me isn't, oh, I like that person. Caring to me is, oh, I'm actively thinking about what would be best for that person. That's how I think of it. So if you get a lot out of, the trans vlog, please definitely go subscribe to the other channel. If you don't get anything out of the gaming vids, it's okay. If you like both, feel free to subscribe to both. If you only like the gaming vids, you won't have to worry about the trans vids being here. And yeah. Hopefully I will be making some sort of a trans vlog video on the 13th if I, you know, can have life be settled enough to do so. And remember, because my mind has had a lot on it, but that video I will only be posting to the Lyl Enlyl channel. I will not be posting it here on Rainbow Moonshadow. So again, um, if this is something that you actually were getting something out of and you wanted to be aware of and things like that, make sure you go look at it on that channel, because this video right here, this is the last one that I will be posting to Rainbow Moonshadow for the trans vlog in specific. And from now on, it'll just be all of the gaming guides and videos and stuff like that. And Rainbow Moonshadow will specifically just be for the gaming side of things. Um, and the trans vlog and all that stuff that still exists. It's just on the other channel, and that way, hopefully, I can still feel good about myself and still be adding good to the world, while at the same time being able to put a little bit more of a healthy separation there. I'm trying really hard to find a more healthy medium ground, you know, doing it in moderation for myself. I'm trying. um, Going forward, I would like to also feel like I can more consistently upload videos, probably to the gaming stuff in specific, but I was also considering trying the whole streaming thing and see how that goes. If maybe I can be like actively answering people's questions about, for instance, Guild Wars 2, and helping them with that. I don't know if I would do a stream for the trans stuff. No one's ever indicated like much of an interest in something like that. I guess I could if someone did, but yeah, I've just never had anyone express a desire for like like I've had top surgery and no one's asked me, "Oh, hey, I have these questions about top surgery." You know what I'm saying? Like, "Oh, I'm about to start testosterone. You've been on testosterone for a long time." Or "Hey, I was born intersex and I know you're born intersex. I have these questions." Like, people haven't come to me like that, so I don't know that anyone would be interested in that. But if someone is, feel free to let me know on the Lyl Enlyl channel. The Rainbow Moonshadow channel is for the gaming questions or the gaming interests, or if people are new to Guild Wars 2, maybe they started on Steam or something like that, and they like have questions and they want, to have like an interactive answering session or whatever. I can do that for sure. So, yeah. As far as my transition goes for physical stuff, nothing has changed at all that I am aware of. Everything's still the same. I need a haircut. I need to shave my scruff down, and I really need a haircut. But I still can't lift my arms. Like, this is about as like I'm stretching right now. This is as high as I can go right now still. So I can't cut my hair yet. Believe me, I want to. I want to really bad. Um, but physical side of transition, not a ton of anything going on. But emotional side of transition and transitioning in life in general, like period, lots and lots going on. Yeah, anyway, the physical transition stuff will start picking up steam again or whatever, probably again on the 19th of September when I get my consult for the hysterectomy and everything. I am sure I will have lots to say. Anyway, yeah, I guess I've said more than enough for this video. So, I will leave this again up for a little while. So hopefully, anyone who was watching the trans vlog, like it seems like there's about 20 people. So whoever those 20 people are, um, this video's for you, I guess, and for me. But in specific, it's for me. But if it's helpful to you or you would like to continue watching them, this video is also for you. For everyone else who just likes gaming stuff, I guess Gratch, the channel, will be all yours in a couple of weeks. Well, it still will be mine, but you get the point.